Hello and welcome back to this edition of Daily Actives brought to you by Bootleg Macro. I am Dustin. This is a show where we look at the most active stocks on Yahoo Finance every single day. We're going to go ahead and look at Bitfarms. Bitfarms continues to be so. If you ever look at Yahoo Finance and you're looking at the most active stocks, there's very rarely stocks that are over 200 million shares traded. There's consistently at least one or two a day in the environment that we're in right now, and Bitfarms is one of those ones. It's kind of nuts to me that there was 206 million shares traded of something that is what, $6, $5.89. What I find to be remarkable about it is that if we look at what we've seen in terms of the range, it was a very tight range, which means volatility was low. We've got a big breakout. What I loved was that the price pulled back in the middle of the range and now continues to break out higher. I love that we are seeing this move on higher volume. The volume is very supportive of what's happening in Bitfarms. We're looking at the sentiment indicator. This thing has been well above the 50% line for quite a while here. It looks like we're at 65.8% as of today. Even on the 15-day, we're breaking out to 71.2. If you watch my previous videos, this indicator is 100%, like it's not zero bounded, but you can only have 100%. So generally, because the market is 50-50, you won't go over 70% even on the 15-day. What's really interesting to me is that the volume or the volatility is the highest it's been. The correlation is also very high, so that's where you're getting those gap ups. We look at the price, especially in the data table here. The thing that's really, the price is significantly high. The volume is moderately high. The price is bullish, or the sentiment's bullish. We are well above the trade level. We do have a higher high. Those things are all positive, but we are up 420% in 3 months. So we just have to be honest about the fact that Bitfarm may not continue. Let's go ahead and look at Plug. I'm very curious what Plug is going to have. You see 195 million shares traded in Plug today. That is a remarkable price or a remarkable amount of volume. Now we're looking at it. I'm going to look at this actually on like a 6 month because the 9 month is great for Plug, but you really want to be a little bit more respectful to the type of moves that we've seen. We've seen some low volatility, but the type of moves we've seen that have been these high volatility, like massive breakouts where the price breaks above the top of the range, it consolidates, breaks up above the top of the range, consolidates, and now it looks like it's starting to resume. It's actually a great place to buy Plug, in my opinion. I would definitely consider buying Plug. I know it's up 9.6%, but I suspect we're going to break that high, which is at 5, or is that 485? Is that 485? 458. Some dyslexia is what's kicking in, I guess. If we're looking at what we've got in terms of the volume, I love the fact that the volume continues to break out even higher. It's not the massive volume that we saw on like that down day where we gapped up, but it is higher volume at 196 million shares traded today. Very impressive. When we're looking at the sentiment indicator, we're well above the 50% line. We are at 57.4. We're under on the 15-day, not really positive from that perspective in terms of what we're looking at. I would expect some volatility. Obviously, it's Plug. There's always volatility. It's only up 3.8% today. We had 195 million shares traded. What would you expect in this thing? The volatility continues to break out. I'm assuming it's going to start to roll over. The correlation is already negative. That's not really great. Now, if we're looking at the price, we are moderately high. The volume is in the normal range. It is bullish. It has been bullish. It looks like since essentially since 9/11, never forget. We've been above the trade level as well. The top of the range is higher. We're positive on the 1 day all the way through the 1 year. On the 1 month, we're up 141%. I expect that to level out. Let's go ahead and look at NVIDIA real quick. I'm very interested in NVIDIA. Personally, I do have call options in NVIDIA, but if you watched my previous videos, I was talking about how I think NVIDIA is like the king returning from battle to reclaim the throne, especially considering that it was bullish all the way through May into middle of August. It's been bearish for almost all of September and the beginning of October. We can see that the top of the range is starting to break out a little bit. We can see that we are bullish again based on those green bars, but the price is just doing some funky things. I truly believe that we need to close in the mid 190s. This thing needs to close over 200 before, I'd probably say before Thanksgiving. I would personally say before the end of the month in October, but this just has to happen because the type of move that we're seeing, we need to see some sort of resumption of bullish movement. And what I want to see is a bullish move with low volatility, not low volume, low volatility, where we got a very tight price range for a very long period of time and the price is just slowly generating higher. It'll be interesting to see because the sentiment is now below 50%. We're at 49.3. Even on the 15-day, we're only at 52.4. The volatility is continuing to break out a little bit. I don't know how long that's going to run. We will see. Today, obviously, is a rebound after what we saw on Friday, because Friday was a significantly down day for most stocks, especially you can see like NVIDIA was down 4.89% last Friday. It was down 4.4% today, and it is negative on the 1 month, on the 1 week rolling look back. At the 1 month, we have to protect this. Like when I say we, I'm not talking about like actually we, like you're just a person who's watching a video on a guy who made an app for himself. What I'm talking about we is in terms of the bulls. The bulls have to defend essentially the 1 month rolling return. They cannot let it go positive, or they cannot let it go negative, as well as that 5 month rolling return. So essentially, right now, the line in the sand has got to be that 182.70. We need to clear 182.70. We probably need to close in the low 190s at some point between now and Halloween. 2 weeks is all we have. I'm just very serious about the idea that NVIDIA, it's not the most important stock in the stock market. It's just currently the most important stock in the stock market. And if you don't know what I mean by that, you probably haven't traded for very long. Let's go ahead and look at BI, which is what is that? BigBear AI Holdings. This is also just an obnoxious one. This is an indication of where we are in the market. No offense to BigBear AI Holdings. I'm sure you're a great company. I'm sure you're run by great people, but you're a $3 billion company and he's traded 175 million shares at $8 a price. Do the math. That may be more market cap. That's a crazy amount of shares to be traded for something that's 3.3 billion, right? Because yeah, that is a crazy amount to be traded. The thing that's nice is we broke up above the top of the range. We pulled back into the middle of the range, then we broke back up above. The trade range is going to continue to break out. The top of the price, it looks like the price is continuing to stay strong and is really starting to ride the top of that range. I like that what's been happening is on high volume. We've seen the sentiment come back down. It looks like we're at 62.5%. If we're looking at the 15-day, we're at 53.9. The volatility, it looks like it's probably about to start rolling over. If you've ever watched my videos, I always talk about how I like falling volatility. I think falling volatility is where trend reveals itself. So what I love is falling volatility and falling price correlation because two negatives make a positive. You can see here we are significantly high, like significantly high. We are not above the top of the range just yet. The volume is in the normal range, but the trade level is way down there at 720. Month we're up 50%. On the 3 month, we're only up 20%. So I'll give it credit that we're only up 20% on the 3 month. So there is something positive to be said about what we're seeing in BigBear AI. Let's go ahead and look. What's interesting is that honestly, all of the stocks that are on here today, I don't know most of them. Like the reason why that's interesting to me is because most of the time the same stocks are on the list. So let's go ahead and look at Navitas, Semiconductor, NVTS, Navitas. I just like the way that rolls off the tongue. Navitas. I don't even know if that's how you say it. It could be Navitas. I don't know. But I just like Navitas. Semiconductor. So NVTS. This thing was up 26% today. What a crazy move. If we look at it more closely in the 6 month, it's interesting because you can see that we saw a very tight range here in May. We saw a breakout in July or in June. We really consolidated. It looks like going back and forth. We really didn't move very much in through all of August. Got a little bit of bearishness. We saw some consolidation again right here. It looks like in the middle of September. The price is now starting to break out. It's really going to take the range with it. Let's go ahead and see how far back we can look. Yeah, this is a complete trend change in terms of the style and momentum that we're looking at in this stock. NVTS, did I spell it right? Yes, okay. Navitas. The volume is supporting this. You can see, look at the volume essentially came out of nowhere. Well, not nowhere, but it correlated directly to the price move that we're seeing. The top of the rate or the sentiment is at 58.3, very positive. The 15-day is at 59.0, very positive. We go ahead and look. Navitas, I mean, you're extremely high. That's the one problem. You're well above the top of the range. The volume is significantly high. We're very, very bullish. We are ways away from the trade level. When we're looking at the 1 month and the form, I mean, the 1 month you're up 113%, the 3 months you're up 48%. I would expect to see a small pullback. Go ahead and look at LAC, Lithium Americas Corp. Always interested to see what's going on with this one because lithium should not be popular. But when you've got trade wars, when you've got tariffs, when you've got the world burning and everybody is looking for rare earth minerals, this is the type of stuff that gets into the top of the most active stocks in Yahoo Finance. Again, if you're looking at this purely from the way that the actual price has been moving, it's so predictable because you see a very tight range, which if we scroll down, what it means is that you've got very low volatility. When the volatility starts to break out, that means that the range is starting to expand. When you're getting the price that breaks up above the top of the range then consolidates, now you can believe it. Now the price is going to continue to essentially hit the top of the range, consolidate. Now it's going to go back to the top of the range. This is this textbook behavior in terms of the way that I like to look at markets. So I'm not like surprised at all in what is happening in Lithium Americas Corp or LAC. Um, it's just surprising it's happening in something that is a Lithium Americas Corp. I probably would buy this thing just because it's at $2 billion. This market's incredibly frothy. This could easily get to a $10 billion company. Now, I'm not saying it necessarily will, but like I have no reason in my mind to think that this thing couldn't be $100. Donald Trump could post a tweet that could make this $100. He could buy the company. It could be $100. Like it's only $2.48 billion. I think even he has enough real money to buy that. Like the man, you know. So if we look, it's interesting when we think about the volume that has shown up because there was really no volume. So this is again, this is very similar to what we just saw in Navitas, a very different change and transition in the sentiment of the stock, the market of the stock, the overall just like lifeblood of how this thing is moving. We look at the overall sentiment, yeah, well above. We're at 54.4. 15-day, we're at 55.5. Volatility, as I already highlighted, is just breaking out. Volatility on the standard move is just crazy. I mean, it's up near 300%. That's a crazy move in volatility. We're looking at it, the price is only moderately high. Obviously, the trade level is down at 644. It's going to catch up, but it's going to take a while. The top of the range is at 1178. Don't really like to see that. The bottom line is gonna be down at $1.10, but it is slowly starting to make its way back. It just takes a while when that volatility breaks the size of the range. I mean, the 1 month we're up 212%, 3 month 222%. See, the problem is when you're up 212% in 1 month and you're up 257% in a year, you know that the move has essentially just happened. Like just happened. So it is interesting to see where we are, but what I would suspect is that we're going to continue to get a lot of breakouts above the top of the range, consolidation, and then following along. Let's go ahead and look at Rigetti Computing. I have talked about Rigetti so much recently, and it's just interesting to me because I'm just you. What year is it? 1999. The idea that we're buying into a computing company, I know it's probably AI. I know it's probably like a quantum thing. I know it's probably something like super highfalutin and like super important. But it just makes me think of like Dell computers. Like, what are we buying? HP? You know, go get yourself a Hewlett Packard. Go get yourself one of those desktops. What is it, like a green machine or an E machine? I mean, you have to be of a certain age to even know about this, but like Rigetti Computing, what are we doing? I mean, great company, most likely, great stock. I mean, when we're seeing what this thing has done, it was in a very tight range for a very long time over the past 6 to 9 months. You can see that we got some expansion in the volatility when the price started to break out. The price broke out above the range, consolidated at the middle. Price continued to follow. Now it's continuing to follow the top of the range. Probably going to consolidate again. The change in the move has been remarkable. What's interesting about this one is that we saw a complete transition from what was like a lifeless market to a bull market, but it had volume the whole time. That's what's interesting. So we're getting volume that is being supportive, but the volume has been here. So I love the fact that we've gotten a bunch of volatility, which has been or volume, which has been pressed while the price has been breaking out. The sentiment is nuts. I mean, we're at 68.9%. Even on the 15-day, we're at 63.3. Nuts. The volatility, highest that we've seen in 9 months. We look at the price, it's gonna be obnoxious. Like just based on everything you've seen, like it's gonna be obnoxious, right? You know it has to be. We're at 54.2. I mean, over 5 days, we're up 27%. Over 15 days, we're up 78%. I mean, I've been making videos about Rigetti computing at least for 2 weeks. I mean, and that, to be fair, that's all you needed. Like, all you needed to be up 30%, or like 78% in 3 weeks, or like 180% in 1 month to like make life-changing money. I'm not saying I would have owned that much because that's obnoxious, but it's tough to not make a ton of money when you're up 180% in 20 days or 78% in 15 days. So when we start to think about what's going on next for Rigetti Computing, I would suspect we are going to see most likely a reversion to the mean. Not because I don't expect this to continue higher, but because when you're up 180% a month, you can't do it again. I mean, you could. You definitely could. I mean, NVIDIA has shown us that it's possible, but I don't expect Rigetti Computing to do it. Let's go ahead and look. I'm going to skip. I just want to look at interesting ones to me. We'll look at Open. Open's going to be interesting. The reason why Open's going to be interesting is because this thing has shown some really high vol. Now, if we're looking at the up close chart of Open, obviously we've seen a complete transformation in the way the volatility profile of this stock has been moving. The thing that's been really interesting to me recently is once we saw this peak at the top of the range, it looks like at the end of September, we've seen a narrowing of the range. Now, a narrowing of the range doesn't necessarily mean the price is going to go down, but it does mean that there's a higher probability that we could see a break lower. The thing that I'd like to see would be from this bottom, from this close at 727, which is yesterday, to 764 today, which is a very good close. I would like to see it go all the way up to the top of the range at 1057. That's what I need. I need to see it up at the top of the range at 1057. The reason why I need to see that is because if I don't get that, that will tell me that we're not going to be able to make it any higher. Now, if we look at the actual chart, it's interesting that the low has been at 691. The low here was at 697. So it is holding the low of the most recent move. I need to see some volume inside of Open. Now, I understand that if we look at the 6 months, we've got a bunch of really bad, like these couple days are about to fall out in terms of that 1.9 billion. So the average is going to come down significantly from 312 million a day. So maybe 114, maybe 156 million. That's not going to be around the average. Who knows? We'll find out. But if the price is going to do anything serious, it's going to have to take volume with it because there's definitely overhead supply. And the concerning thing is that the volatility has been falling over. So the volatility has been falling over, and I believe that shows you trend. And when you look, the sentiment has gone from what was 66 or 70% down to 45%. 45% bullish on the 1 month, 48% on the 15-day. Things are just not looking that great. That's the problem for open right now. I don't know if it's a catalyst. I don't know if it's positive news. I don't know if it's fucking tariffs. I don't know if it's like they need aliens to invade. All I can tell you is that the price is now in the middle of the range. It's below its trade level. Yes, it's bullish, but if we look at it, it's now negative on a 1 month and on a 15-day or on a 5-day. The problem may be that it's up 138% over the past 3 months. But again, this thing was up 400% and 700% like just last week. And the price wasn't that different. So I suspect we're going to get some consolidation here in open. And then there's an opportunity for it to go higher. But we really need to see this thing close above like $10 very, very soon, or else I'm going to stop being a believer. Let's go ahead and look. Is there anything else that's really interesting on here? There is nothing. There's nothing else that's super interesting to me. Not today. Tell me what you think in the comments below. Are you long? Are you short? Do you like it? Do you love it? Before you go, subscribe to Bootleg Macro. I've got 381 videos. I've only got 176 subscribers. I think I make fire content. If you're interested in using this, you can always go to TradeRanges.com. You can go ahead and set yourself up. You can get it for free where you can look at like sectors, right? I just like have a whole thing where it just like populates the sector data. You can go ahead and look at like the macro. This is like all just prepared for you. You can go ahead and look at the world. If you're really so inclined and you want to get the hottest data, come on, check it out. If you're interested, you can always do the crypto stuff too. Crypto is a very big part of what happens on the site. The reason why is because this gets updated twice a day. If you're looking for it, you can go to the crypto newsletter. You can get the free version, which is I send it to you. Let me go ahead and look. I send it to you on Saturday at 11 a.m. The premium version comes out at 6:15 a.m. If you're interested, there is a 7-day free trial. It's $10 a month. It comes out. It's got levels, got everything. I mean, when we're thinking about what we're looking at right here, just in terms of what is actually happening in the crypto market at the moment, everything is super bearish. Do you know what told you that Bitcoin is going to be bearish? The email that I send you. Like when we look at what's been going on, crypto has been doing dog shit, nothing for a very long time. But you see the green, that's bullish. You see the red, that's bearish. You see it up here, see it down there. You get the data table, you get the whole thing. It's been pretty remarkable to see how volatile Bitcoin has been, and that we've gotten a big sell really recently at 112, and went down to 110. People are getting whipped. They're getting beaten. They're getting mauled. People are having a bad time in crypto. Do you know why? Because they don't have some sort of predictive forecasting. They don't have anything that tells them, ooh, is Bitcoin bearish right now? Is Ethereum bearish right now? Is Bitcoin Cash bearish right now? Go ahead and get yourself some. I'll talk to you soon.